We are here at the Cannabis Show. We are about to go around and meet some people. We got like some peeps over here that we're going to chat with, and we're going to find out all about the show and talk to some speakers and exhibitors and find out about the world of cannabis and how they're participating and what they're adding to it. And we are here at Cannabis Congress, and we're speaking with a bunch of the exhibitors. We are here with Bill from Siva, and I wanted to ask you, Bill, tell me about how you got introduced to the show and maybe what you're doing here to participate.
Well, we are an RFID manufacturer and design company, so we make radio frequency identification tags and labels, and what that does is it provides wireless traceability.
Okay.
So we're very, very active in the agriculture business,
right.
And then I started learning about this industry, decided that there's a lot of benefits to being able to track and trace the plant from the seedling to harvest, basically.
Correct.
And it's also to be able to follow the government regulations, right? A lot of the regulations require that you have a license for each plant. Mm-hmm. So each plant is going to have what we call an RFID tag on it. It gives it a unique identifier, mm-hmm. and that travels with it for the life of the plant through harvest. You can transfer that to the harvest part of it, and then you have the proof to the government that you have paid the licenses and follow the rules, basically.
Okay, so this becomes like this digital tracking for your cannabis plants.
Yeah, digital fingerprint, digital history. Yes.
Very cool, very cool. And these are them here. These are the actual products, which are like basic stickers, which to the naked eye, but filled with.
Well, a good way to think about this is the quick pass or the tolling for cars.
Yeah.
Where you have the sticker in the window, and you go through and it pays the toll. Same exact technology.
Excellent. And how did you get into this business?
I've been in this business for 15 years.
Okay.
So it's matured a lot in the last 15 years, and it's used widely across many industries.
Yeah.
It's used in retail, used in industrial and healthcare. You can put a wristband on a patient in a hospital, and then track them as they move around the hospital, so you know where they are. Track assets. So it's used widely across the industry.
Interesting.
What's nice about this is it's wireless. So this is an example. I don't know if you can see with the camera there, but there's a little tiny chip there.
Yeah.
There's an entire radio integrated in that chip. It's about the size of a grain of sand.
Man,
so there's a whole radio
whoever would have thought that we would be at a stage with technology where you could make something so small and minute, but have such a powerful impact.
Right. And this is all the antenna. You can see the lines there.
Yeah.
So that's an aluminum antenna. So that provides you, and there's no battery with this, which is also a great way to keep the cost down.
Oh, so how does it power?
It receives the power from the reader. So it's electromagnetic waves it receives from the device it's looking to read it. So it's like an interrogation. It sends out its pulse, basically, electromagnetic pulse. It wakes up the chip. The chip says, okay, I recognize you. Here's my ID number.
Cool.
And it sends back the ID number.
Very cool.
And it's unique to every item.
Excellent.
So you can basically put like a license plate on every item that you want to track through your supply chain.
And where do you see the cannabis industry going in Costa Rica here?
Oh, I think it's with the legislation moving the way it is and looking like it's going to be legalized. I think there's a lot of potential for this, and it's a great country for growing. It's great for agriculture, right?
Exactly.
The soil is rich with the volcanic, all the nutrients.
Nutrients,
so they can grow very well here. I think it's got the right climate, so I think there's a lot of potential for it. And with RFID, again, we can give the government peace of mind. Following the rules, if you have this technology that you can show, you can go into a greenhouse and audit the greenhouse, and if you have thousands of plants, you can do the inventory with this technology within a few minutes.
Wow.
And be able to show the government official, here's all the plants, I've paid all the taxes, or they're all licensed, and everything is following the rules.
It's itemized, it's inventory,
Correct.
It's tracked, just like any other business that's supplying a product.
Exactly.
Awesome. Bill, it's been a real pleasure.
Yes,
thank you. I'm glad that you're at the show and participating. Don't forget to check out Bill at his booth over here with Siva, and we'll see you soon.
All right, thank you.
Excellent, bud.
Excellent.
Awesome. Hey. All right, we are still talking. We're here with Oscar from INTA.
Yeah.
Is I pronouncing that correctly?
Yeah, that's right.
Fantastic. Oscar, tell us a little bit about INTA and how you're participating here today.
Yeah, sure thing. INTA is part of the National Ministry of Agriculture. It's in charge of doing research and innovation and transferring of technologies to producers for the whole country. We do research in a lot of areas: cattle production, fruits, vegetables, root systems, grains. INTA is participating in the Cannabis Congress because for the past over a year and a half, it's been in charge of validating several strains of hemp in two parts of the country. So all the results are going to be shown today. How's the behavior of those strains for the climate conditions for the country, production-wise, rates, everything in that aspect related. So hopefully that's what.
And I heard the results were fantastic.
Yeah.
Right.
The results are going to be fantastic. They're going to be shown. They're going to be live as well in the conference side. We're going to publish them as well in Inta sites, and we're going to do a documented thing, a whole document regarding that aspect as well. So it's going to be available for the public to see all the production national-wise. Hopefully to open up the market and expectations for hemp production in the country as well. So
excellent, excellent. And what do you think of the cannabis industry? What do you think of it coming to Costa Rica?
Yeah, it's a good thing it's coming to Costa Rica. It's a fast-growing industry. There's a lot of opportunity for producers as well here. There's a lot of interest for producers that have been coming through for the conference for the past 2 days here. So there's a lot of open questions, production-wise, but also market-wise. If there's still going to be a local market to acquire all the production, eventually if that happens as well. And so that's basically the whole overview of what we've seen today here in the conference as well.
It's very exciting. It can make a huge impact to the economy here in Costa Rica. It creates jobs. It creates more opportunities for a lot. Awesome.
Yeah. And also a diversity of joint alliances with other products. We've heard, we have visits that they're using a lot of hemp production in cattle feeding as well. So that's opening up an opportunity of research for us as well to implement that and see how the behavior of the animals and the production is going to be and what the benefits would produce for the producers.
Very cool. And just so we know, your company's been responsible for a lot of the data and the research throughout the last couple of years in regards
for the past year and a half, since September a little bit over September 2020.
Cool.
So over a year and a half, we've done the research for over 12 strains. I think we have partial results for 11 of them. There's one pending, but hopefully by mid-year we'll have all the results and everything's going to be published and accessible to the public as well. So.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Oscar, I'm thrilled to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you for participating here. And we've got some exciting things happening. Don't forget to come check out Oscar and Inta at the Cannabis Conference.
Thank you.
All right, we are here with Luke from Mach Technologies. Tell us a little bit about the company and how you're participating today.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Craig. Mach Technologies, we're a commercial engineering and manufacturing company out of Detroit, Michigan. And we make automated extraction solutions using a bunch of different solvents and solventless technologies. And we basically specialize in building out turnkey extraction facilities for the cannabis and hemp industries all over the world.
Awesome. How long have you been doing this?
We've been specifically in the cannabis and hemp world for about 3.5 years. So almost a dinosaur in this space, but we've been making specialty equipment for other industries for almost 87 years now.
Okay, so it's been long.
We've been making equipment for a long time.
So you're evolving as the cannabis industry is evolving as well. So you see the opportunity here.
Oh, 100%. And I think that's really why we got into the space. Our background is in engineering, automating and scaling technologies and figuring out ways to make things that work at this level work on a much bigger scale. And in the cannabis and hemp world, that's exactly what's happening right now. The industry is blowing up, specifically in the U.S. all over, and now we're seeing more and more countries around the world, even down here in Central America, coming online. And that's one of the reasons we came down here, is we wanted to help educate a lot of the new entrepreneurs that are going to come into the space. And we've got a diverse background, and it helps our customers be educated when they decide to make the move.
Well, I think to your point, when individuals, entrepreneurs are coming down and they're seeing professional organizations that have been around for close to 100 years, now moving into this industry and contributing to the success of it, this isn't like, the 60s sort of perception of weed anymore. This is a big industry now.
Absolutely, and I think that's really the gap that's been needing to be bridged over the last handful of years across the world in the cannabis and hemp space, because to your point, in the first early years, especially in the US of legalization, that was exactly what was happening. Folks that had been doing this type of work and extraction on the black market for themselves started coming to the forefront and doing it the same way they were doing it in a garage, in a lab, in a warehouse, at a commercial scale, on a much bigger commercial scale. And the reality is those processes aren't or weren't the best way to do it at a much larger scale. And so I think that's where we've really lended a hand, is figuring out ways to scale and automate these, the same technologies, the same kind of practices that have been around for decades and hundreds of years, even beyond that, just finding a way to kind of bring it up to the 21st, 22nd century and automate those processes.
Very cool. And what do you think of the Cannabis Conference?
Phenomenal.
This is the first one.
It's the first one, and we're extraordinarily privileged to be here. We know Dan O'Brien and a bunch of their team, and they've done a great job bringing all the right people here, including the Minister of Health, the Department of Ag, and really getting the government involved and doing programs with and for them. So it's all about education, and especially early on, there's a lot of agriculture down here in Costa Rica, and a lot of farmers and hydroponics folks that have been growing a long time, but they maybe have not.
Nathan, nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
Tell us a little bit about what you're doing here.
Yeah, so I am representing Vern Bioanalytics. I am the CEO and co-founder. We are trying to talk about how to maximize your cannabis growing potential with genetic and pathogen testing. There are lots and lots of tools that are available to look at the DNA and RNA of your plant or other characteristics.
Yeah.
So that way you can try to eliminate the guesswork. Trying to help with.
Very cool. And how did you get into this?
I got into this because one of my co-founders is a lawyer in Massachusetts, and they were given feminized seeds that weren't feminized, and so a lot of them went bankrupt because of it. And so we thought, hey, we can help bring tools. There's no guesswork. We don't need to wait 2-3 months before we can see things. Yeah. We can know at day 3 what we have.
Instantly.
Instantly.
It's almost like being able to tell the sex of your baby.
That's exactly the exact same concept.
Okay, so that's the same concept that
same concept.
you could get in. So we could start to even understand male plants, female plants. What's it going to yield?
Can it make THC? Are there enzymes involved that can actually make that happen? DNA is the blueprint for life.
Yeah, no kidding.
So if it's not there, it's not going to happen.
Very cool. And what were you talking about? You were talking about your work in your company
I was given the task of talking about plant genetics, which if anybody's familiar with genetics, that can be talked about for years. And so we kind of had to distill it down to 40 minutes of what is genetics, do a little bit of education to explain what that concept is. Yeah. How can you use that to help your growth? And then what tools are currently available as well as in the production of being available.
Excellent. So give me like a 2-minute version of your presentation. So what is genetics? Why is it important for us in this industry? And how can it help us?
Sure. So genetics. So in the cannabis community, the term genetics means something different to a scientist like myself. So genetics actually refers to DNA holding the blueprint of an organism, and it's also inherited, which means both those things are super important because that tells you the inheritance of that trait that you can then watch generation to generation. Just like your mom and dad, you look similar to them because you share DNA with them.
Very cool.
Same thing with your cannabis plants.
Very cool.
The challenge with that is that cannabis are 15 times more variable than people are. And so there's a lot of complexity, a lot of nuances that are going on there that requires lots of deep research. And so part of the things is I was trying to advocate more of my fellow scientists to come join us in terms of researching this, because there's lots and lots to discover, and why wait years to help somebody when you can find out right now what some medicine to sort something.
Very cool. Very exciting work. I think the fact that we're looking at this from a scientific way now, and genetics, it's just really mind-blowing. That's amazing. What do you think of the show so far?
I think this is a fantastic show. My thought from day one has been this is history in the works. While there is lots of things going on with a new Congress, a new conference, a new industry, right. It's exciting just the conversations that we are having with different people here. I can't wait to see how this unfolds over time. I think Costa Rica is going to be one of the powerhouses in cannabis because the type of minerals, the type of ecology here in Costa Rica is extremely unique. There's a reason why 6% of the biodiversity in the world is here in Costa Rica. Right. That's going to correlate to how the plants are. There's going to be cannabis plants here that don't exist anywhere around the world, is my guess. Wow. There's going to be tastes, there's going to be flavors that are not going to exist in the United States or anywhere else because we don't have the environment.
Exactly.
Nutrients go in, depends on what the plant can do.
Right. And Costa Rica is a blue zone, which speaks to what you're saying.
For that blue zone.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why that variety is here. generations live here.
Very cool.
Cannabis is going to be no different.
Very cool. And if people wanted to learn more about some of the work that you're doing in your company, how could they find out about that?
Sure. So they can go to Vern Bioanalytics. So a lot of the testing that I refer to, like say gender testing, pathogen testing, we distilled it down to what we call the eye test. It allows anybody to run it. You don't need a lab to actually run it.
Okay.
You can run it in your home. And so just go to vernbioanalytics.com. So that's Vern Bioanalytics, as in Jules Verne. Just look up my name, Nathan Johnson.
Amazing.
More, reach out.
Amazing.
Always
Nathan,
love talking to people.
it was a real pleasure, man. Thanks so much for spending some time with us. All right, awesome.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well done, bud. That was good.
No questions.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I'll take your mic. Yeah, just unclip it. Oh, there you
I don't
go.
want
Boom.
record.
That's okay. Perfect. Thanks. That's it. Cool. And then you're getting this. Cool. Okay. All right. Where are you from, Mandy?
I live in Salt Lake, actually.
Salt Lake. Why are there so many people from Utah and Costa Rica coming back and forth?
Weather.
Well, yes, weather,
And
right?
lifestyle.
Yes. So, but I know a lot of Costa Ricans that are going to Utah or have homes in Utah.
Because it's very different.
Yeah.
That's what I say all the time. Come down because it's dry. There's
Right.
lots of mountains. We're close to lots of national parks.
Exactly. Park City,
Yes.
right? I've got clients out in Salt Lake. I spent a bunch of time out there. Very cool city. I'd stay at the Grand America, yeah, which I'm sure you know. Yeah, that's a beautiful photo. Okay, we are here with Mandy. Mandy, you're from Salt Lake City,
Yes.
Utah. What are you doing in Costa Rica?
Oh, visiting for the expo, for this event, Cannabis Science Congress.
And what do you think of the conference so far?
It's awesome. The quality of people have been great. Being able to build relationships, learn a little bit more about opportunity, what difference, I guess, cannabis and hemp can make for Costa Rica.
Cool. And how did you get involved with this? I mean, how did you come to hear about the show, or are you in the industry yourself?
I am. So I know a number of the people that are speaking as well as hosting with Dan and Bree. I got involved because I've interviewed also a number of people in the industry, and I'm really focused on the industrial applications like biofuels, plastics, construction building materials, grain and food. And so being able to really support the industry is my goal. I'm not necessarily creating processing facilities, but doing a lot of research and
Which in some cases we might argue could be more important than the operational side of things, which is
side by side, right?
yeah, the lobbying and the building the community and keeping standards, quality, regulatory affairs, all very important.
Business practices.
Good business practices, exactly. And as far as the show goes, or as far as Costa Rica, what do you think about Costa Rica now taking on cannabis and starting to legalize it?
I think it just opens opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, we had a young gentleman on the beach yesterday. It was kind of cool. He was like, I just don't understand why it would be legal in the United States and not legal in Costa Rica. It
Right.
doesn't make sense.
Right.
And once you learn about the opportunity that can open up, especially around housing and food for the community,
For sure.
being able to bridge that gap, that's where it becomes really impactful.
There's way more than just smoking cannabis or plant. There's as you said, there's the sustainability. There's food. There's clothing. There's building materials, shelter that we could all build out of that hemp product as well.
And it allows opportunity on a small scale.
Right.
We don't need massive scale to be able to provide impact on substantial impact for
Right.
small communities.
Yeah, and that would be really important for Costa Rica, being a green, environmentally friendly.
People look at the gap between poverty and wealth here, and to be able to bridge that and provide more opportunity for local community to participate on an economic benefit.
Amazing. And if you were to give anyone advice about getting into the industry or participating, if someone maybe wants to, just participate and, add and contribute to the community, how could they do that?
I'd say look at this as a much bigger and much more, like you said, than the cannabinoid or medicine, the health benefits, but on a lot bigger perspective. And so being able to say, what is it that I can directly impact, whether it's construction or biofuels or food and grain, grocery stores, and being able to, where does hemp play a role?
Cool.
Being able to either grow yourself or distribute, talk about it, start conversation.
Amazing.
There's lots of opportunities.
And Mandy, where can we get in touch with you? If people wanted to find out more and speak to you a little bit, can they reach out to you on LinkedIn, on social platforms? Where could we get in touch with you?
Mandy Lynn Kerr on LinkedIn. I'm super active on LinkedIn. We've got a great YouTube channel, the Global Hemp Association, and globalhempassociation.org is our website. And so there's lots of resources on what's going on a global scale with your industries.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Mandy, it's been a real pleasure chatting with you. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
All
Thanks
right.
for your time, guys.
That was great, Mandy. Good job. I'm just going to hit record. Is this recording? Oh, that was recording. There we go. Okay, you ready? Let me just... Okay, Mike, nice to meet you. Tell us a little something about yourself.
All right, my name is Mike Liago. I'm here from Colorado and have been an active participant in the industrial hemp industry since 2016. Our company is the International Hemp Exchange, and we focus on supporting the hemp supply chain, not only in the U.S., but around the world.
Very cool. And how did you get involved with this?
You know, so I've been in the legal cannabis industry in the U.S. since 2007, and when we legalized hemp in 2014, started seeing more activity in the area. We were supporting some businesses that were starting to plant farm hemp, and realized that there was going to be a newly emerging industry that the time was right, and decided to get involved. So we started farming hemp, and then realized there was a lot of disconnect in the industry, and wanted to create a platform and a resource to help connect the different participants in the industry.
Amazing. And through your work, what would be some of the things that you've seen happen in the industry? I mean, it sounds like you've been in the industry for quite some time. How's it grown? How's it evolved?
Yeah, so it's been a little bit of a rocky road. You know, it's had its ups and downs over the years. There's been a large learning curve associated with this. Farmers have dealt with overproduction and bad genetics and lack of information, a lack of buyers and processors. So there's been a lot of growing pains in the industry. We're now starting to see things start to level off in the States where there's a congruent supply chain from producer through the end finished products. But this has mostly been on the cannabinoid side, the CBD. And so now we're trying to support the same thing on the industrial side of the business with grain and fiber crops. But what we're seeing is there's still a lot of disconnect between producers, processors, and actual purchasers.
Right. And that's an important communication and relationship to have.
It is, and they all need to be supported and grow together.
Right.
Because what we experienced with CBD in the U.S. was overproduction at the farming level. There wasn't enough processing, there wasn't enough end buyers, and a lot of farmers lost.
Yeah.
The farmers are the ones that are often working on the smallest margins and have to put the most at risk to be a participant in this industry. We got to make sure they're taken care of.
Yeah. So you really work with the farmers at sort of ground level.
It all starts there. It starts with the seed and with the farmers and making sure that there's good information, making sure that they're getting genetics that will work in their regions. You know, it's not as easy as just finding a seed and planting it. We really have to make sure that varieties are suited for the regions they're being grown in and for the purposes they're being grown.
Okay, so a lot of science and research and planning in order to make sure that it's not that you could actually have a successful farm, profitable, and be able to yield the right amount without wasting.
Yeah, I think the key words you just said there are research and plan.
Yeah.
You don't want to jump into this thing without doing an adequate amount of work.
Very cool. And tell us, what do you think about the show here?
I had a great time down here. I think the show has been amazing. Really impressed with the people that have turned out. There's been a lot of engagement, a lot of good questions. Folks are hungry for knowledge, and I think that's a great indicator of where this industry will go in Costa Rica. I couldn't be happier to be a part of this, and really appreciate the folks that put this together and all the speakers, and sponsors, and participants that showed up.
Cool. Final question, and what do you think of, the cannabis industry now starting in Costa Rica?
It's exciting. It's a great opportunity for Costa Rica. There's so much that we can do with this plant. And so again, going back to that research and planning, figuring out what's going to be the best way to utilize this plant that works for the people, the environment, the economy. There's a lot of opportunity here, and I'm really excited that Costa Rica's getting involved.
Very cool, man. Well, Mike, it's been a real pleasure chatting with you. Thank you for being here and participating, sharing your knowledge and your experience, and educating some of the people around here. If we wanted to find out more about your company, where can we learn about that?
Yeah, so the company is iHempX, IHEMPX. You can find our website. We got a team in the U.S. We've got partners around the world. We're always looking to help emerging markets get established. But go to our website, ihempx.com, and reach out for more information.
Cool, excellent. Well, Mike, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you for being here once again, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome, bud. That was well done.
Thanks.
See, we made you look good, or you made yourself look good. Huh? All right, Rusty, nice to be sitting down with you. Tell us a little something about you, or tell us who you are.
So, Rusty Peterson from Michigan, United States. Grown ever since 2018, 2019, up until this year. Grew cannabinoids, grew cannabidiol, cannabidiol, all the way to fiber and for grain. We've been doing R&D on both fiber varietals and grain varietals, and figuring out all of the end-use applications, hempcrete, biocomposites, plastics,
wow. Wow. And you said you got into this around 2018, 2019?
Yes, sir.
And how did you get into it?
So I've always had an affinity towards hemp and cannabis in general. I was a consumer up until 2018 when the Farm Bill passed in the United States. USDA coming on board with passing that kind of opened up a lot of opportunity for us. So my wife and I actually started our company Aligned Agro. We started growing cannabinoids, 14 acres, and then we also started R&D plots for hemp fiber and for hemp grain because we understood the necessity for biocomposites and bioplastics, and that was a big part of it, the natural fiber for hemp fiber.
Yeah. And is that your focus now, which is that natural fiber?
Yes, sir. So naturally, the progression for us was cannabinoids to fiber and then to grain. And now our main focus is fiber. After proving out how well it grows in Michigan in our northern latitudes with the varietals that we found, we had to go through and work with a lot of different farming operations and figure out what operating procedures, what equipment was existing that we could utilize, and of course then for scalability, where is it going to go towards.
Cool. And what do you think of the show so far? This is the first show in Costa Rica. It's to get people involved and get the community going. How do you think it's going so far?
Yeah, on point.
Yeah.
It's extremely, it's been a breath of fresh air. The engagement and the amount of people wanting to learn and the education piece of it is just absolutely through the roof. So I'm loving it. Not to mention the high quality of people that are here and the amount of connections that I'm able to make here has been absolutely on point. I'm really throwing my hats off to these guys.
Yeah, they've done a great job.
They really have.
And what's your thoughts about the cannabis industry starting and legalization in Costa Rica?
Well, I'm stoked for a couple of different reasons. Obviously, everything that I just kind of said. You know, when I got off the plane in Costa Rica, I was super stoked that everything on there was really speaking to sustainability and looking out for the environment, circular economy, and ESG.
Yeah.
And so that just goes right in line with my passion, my drive, and the whole reason that I got into this in the first place. So it's like the culture and the culmination. This is the epitome of what you need first off to start this type of industry. It's here already. You guys have it locked in and dialed. And then from here, you guys are already jumping onto the education piece, the engagement from people wanting to learn. You guys are going to take this and run with it. I have a lot of high hopes, and I see it going cannabinoids, cannabis, marijuana, but then I've seen a ton of people interested in fiber and grain.
Yeah.
So if we can get that dialed in, if they can get it dialed in, if we can help with any of the resources and the experiences that we have, you guys are, I'd be willing to say that with your makeup that you have here in Costa Rica, you're probably a little bit further ahead of what we are in the Americas, just because of the level of commitment from the government and from the people that I see.
Right.
It's awesome.
It's very cool. Very, very, very cool. And if people wanted to learn more about your company and what you guys do, where can we find you?
Yeah, so www.alignagro.com, so ALIGNAGRO.com. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on the socials, Rusty Peterson, and Rusty at alignagro.com, and Rusty at essenatlas.com.
Excellent. Easy. Rusty. We just got to search Rusty Peterson. And you'll pop up in a line grow. Awesome. Well, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you for coming down and participating. You know, without guys like you and other individuals participating, we wouldn't have had such a successful show.
No, I appreciate you guys so much. It's
All right.
been awesome.
Amazing. Pura vida. Thanks, brother.
Absolutely.
Man, real pleasure. I'll take that. All right.